I swear to God, guys, we can't go a day without a safety being available, not available. Any safety that's really available at this point is always linked to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everybody is enjoying their weekend. Another week almost done and closer to training camp. We are getting there slowly but surely. I wanted to go over a few things regarding the roster, especially the safety position. I know we keep going back to safety, we keep going back to linebacker, but truth of the matter is there's a lot of uncertainty at both positions. And with the safety spot right now, a lot of competition. The Eagles have obviously added some bodies there. If you go back to what Sean Desai did say at his press conference when he was really his introductory press conference, when we didn't really hear from him the whole entire year, the whole entire offseason, he did say that there, somewhat, it makes me feel like there is a wait and see approach with some of these positions. But what Sean Desai really values with his defense so much is going to be competition with some of these, positions. And I think safety is definitely one of them. They added a lot of bodies there, and they drafted a safety in Sidney Brown as well. So there is a lot of bodies at safety right now, but a lot of uncertainty. Not much to where we don't think Reed Blankenship could play, or maybe Sidney Brown might make some noise, or, Terrell Edmonds is kind of promising himself to really keep himself to be that first round selection that he's supposed to be, and switching to another team and how he's going to fit in this defense. And obviously having Justin Evans, Kavon Wallace, maybe switching Keely Ringo to safety. There's a lot of different things you could do. But as regarding to the market as of right now, that if the Eagles are really interested in safety, I'm kind of wondering if they're actually going to make a move here. Now, the first one that the Eagles didn't go after, and that was Adrian Amos. Now, he did sign, with the Jets. It was a 1 year. I think his deal was up to $4 million. Obviously, has played with Aaron Rodgers before, and has been a part of a team with him on it. So, the Jets went after him. He was relatively cheap. So, don't know if just Adrian Amos is, he's 30 years old, he's getting up there in age, and maybe there wasn't a lot of teams that were interested, or maybe, he felt like this is the closest, team that he's going to win a ring on. And the Jets have a lot of pressure on them right now with all the moves they made, and there's a lot of pressure on that team, going after a veteran quarterback and getting the players that he wants and really adding as much to this defense as possible. So that was a loss for the Eagles. Now, I only had Adrian Amos as a big connection for the Eagles because of Sean Desai. Adrian Amos was a part of the Chicago Bears when when Sean Desai was the defensive quality control guy at the time. So there was familiarity with Adrian Amos and the connection with Sean Desai with the Bears. So, I thought it would have made a little bit more sense going into all this. But he picked, going to the Jets, and, it's going to be a tough one for them. So I think we do face the Jets this year, which is interesting. So losing Adrian Amos. Next is one that's kind of been swirling around a little bit. There's been some talks here and there, nothing really concrete, but like I said, the things you don't hear about could likely happen. Just because you don't hear a rumor or you don't hear a connection between, Howie Roseman and the Eagles interested in a certain player doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Sometimes a lot of these, things that we don't know just happens just out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And that's John Johnson III, which is an interesting one. Now, with John Johnson, you're getting somebody that's a vet, you know what I mean? So you're adding him to the mix. Now, if you guys remember, back in 21, the Eagles had a lot of interest in John Johnson. That was when the Eagles signed Anthony Harris, and the Eagles kept Rodney McLeod for one more year, which was a big one. Now, he's 27 years old, still relatively young. I think that year that he didn't sign with the Eagles, when the Eagles went after Anthony Harris and kept Rodney McLeod, he signed like a 3-year deal and only really played in I think 2 years. It was like a $33.75 million deal. So Now, Johnson was a third-round pick in 2017, okay? 12 interceptions, 41 pass breakups, four forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. So the Eagles had a lot of interest in John Johnson back in 21, but then he signed that big deal. So obviously the Eagles weren't looking to pay a safety a lot of money that year. Anthony Harris got paid nothing. Rodney McLeod got paid pretty much nothing. I mean, they were cheap contracts at the time. So, you know what I mean? That was really left of those contracts there. So at least we know that there was interest in the past with John Johnson. And, you know, so, I mean, this isn't going to be a game changer or anything like that. This is just a guy that has a veteran presence and has had some success in the league. And, you know, we'll see what he could do here. You know what I mean? Like, I think adding him would be great. I think if you do add John Johnson, it just makes the competition even better because between Terrell Edmonds, Reed Blankenship, now Sidney Brown getting drafted, being that red star player for the Eagles and exemplifying himself to really make some noise here, adding John Johnson would just make it even better. I mean, like I said, the more bodies you have at a position, the better it's going to be down the road. So if they're not going after a Budda Baker trade, and guys, as much as I really want Budda Baker, there's no, you know, I have no issue with it. The problem is, like, we can't count on Howie to swindle at every single team that he tries to trade for players. Budda Baker is a very, very good player, and the Eagles are not going to get off from not, you know, giving nothing away, a bag of chips for a good player like that. It's just not going to happen. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but they're going to have to give up something relatively good in draft compensation to acquire him. So, you know, that's really what I kind of want to take out of it with the safety spot. Like, there's really only so much you can go after right now, safety-wise. Whether you just get, John Johnson, which he is a, you know, not even a really a medium-priced, probably low-priced veteran that can come in here and do some work with the Eagles and really add more to the competition, like I said before. But this would be a good idea. I don't mind doing this. And really, this makes it more realistic, even with Adrian Amos as well, because Adrian Amos has a lot of connections with Sean Desai. Now, like I said, John Johnson had interest from the Eagles, very high interest from the Eagles in 2021, but signed that big 3-year deal, and the Eagles weren't going to pay him. So obviously John Johnson was looking for the money that year, and it literally was just not going to happen. You know, so what do you do? I mean, I feel like there's time. I don't feel like the Eagles really have to rush too much into this. I feel like they could just let this thing play out. Just let this thing play out. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of Eagles fans in general, as soon as there's like somewhat of a hole or somewhat of a, you know what I mean? You know, even linebacker next to the Kobe Dean, like, oh, we got to sign somebody. We got to sign somebody. You know what I mean? Like, we cannot panic to sign somebody every single time we feel like there's uncertainty. Like, let the uncertainty play out. I'm not saying towards the regular season. I'm saying joint practices, preseason, let this thing play out a little bit. See what you have. You never know what you can have. You know what I mean? Not to say that, you know, if you go to linebacker, like, you know, Van Simmeren is going to be like some big linebacker for us, and he's going to make noise as an undrafted free agent, or, you know what I mean? Like, Nicholas Morrow is going to be really good. You know what I mean? We really don't know. But when it comes to competition and, you know, what Sean Desai said, that's what it's going to come down to. We can't panic to sign a guy and fill a void because, guys, you never know what you have on the back end of your roster. You never really know at all. And I think that's really important going into training camp. I don't think the Eagles are rushing to sign anybody. It doesn't seem like they are. As much as I could see Yannick Ngakoue still out there, as much as I could see that John Johnson is still out there for a while, they're still, you know, Patrick Queen is probably still up for debate for trade, or Isaiah Simmons if that's the case. You know what I mean? So there are guys out there you could trade or get in free agency. There are guys available. So do they trade for the better option and give away some draft capital, or it just depends on the player. Obviously, if it's Patrick Queen, it's not going to cost much. If it's Isaiah Simmons, it won't cost that, you know, too much, you know, depending on what they want. Obviously, train for Budda Baker, you know, you're trained for a guy that's, you know, really good. So I'm not expecting Howie to fleece a team for a really good player, as much as, you know, AJ Brown trade was really good, and, you know, obviously the Eagles, you know, gave the first round pick in the third, and, you know what I mean. You did that in draft, which was a better way to do it, which is great. And it was more pressure at that moment too, which was good. But obviously the Eagles made the trade for AJ Brown, you know, before really the draft day on the first night, you know, before the draft started. So But regarding to safety and what really makes sense here is I think they just waited out. I think they waited out unless they just bring him in. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's potential that this could happen. If there was past interest, which it looks like there was, this could be something that they could do as of right now. So I don't want to put too much into it. Like I said, 4 open roster spots. There's, you never know what happens with injuries and stuff like that. If it happens in training camp, knock on wood, you want to keep guys healthy. Hence why the Eagles didn't have mini camp or any of that other stuff. They're one of 3 teams that really does all of that because, I didn't agree with it at first when they started doing it when Nick got here, but it's worked out better for us in the long run when it comes to health and stuff like that. I mean, you still have plenty of time, all of training camp with joint practices, preseason games, all that great stuff. So adding more talent to this roster is going to come in time, okay? I think that's what's the most important thing about all of it. So I know I kind of went back and forth with certain positions and who does it make sense to trade for? Or the sign in free agency, because like I said, I don't think the Eagles are into giving away high draft capital, especially right now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe not. Eagles are should have 11 to 12 draft selections at the 24 draft. You know what I mean? On top of paying your quarterback this year, which isn't costing the Eagles nothing. Literally nothing. I mean, it's costing them something, but it's literally nothing. So, like I said, safety and linebacker, 2 positions that are very weak or very unknown, depending on how you look at it. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Do the Eagles go after John Johnson since Adrian Amos did sign with the Jets? Do you feel like they're good at safety? Do you feel like they should wait a little bit and kind of do a wait and see approach type thing where let it play out a little bit and then make a move if you feel like you really have to? And like I said, this is up to Howie Roseman to make this move. It's not up to Nick. It's not up to Sean Desai. If Howie Roseman thinks that the safety position is not good enough, obviously, the coaches, after every day of training camp, will have these meetings with Howie and the rest of the front office. Say, hey, well, how about this group? How's this player doing? Whatever. It's not good enough. We probably need to do something. So, like I said, they can always upgrade, certain positions, whether regards to safety, regards to linebacker, defensive end, whatever the case may be, whatever you feel like that needs to be upgraded. But let me know what you guys think about all that. If you guys last this long in this video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video as well. Be covering Eagles every single day. I know I was going all over the place in this video, but this is just one of those days. Very tired, just very tired day today. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, Philadelphia. Peace out, guys. Peace.